Hey, moms.
Awesome.
This is Michelle, and tonight I have Joshua Taylor Talley with me. And some of you know Lucretia. She sometimes goes by the name of Renee, and she is a huge supporter for all of you who are struggling. She runs our Bible study sessions, and this is her son, Joshua. And he has agreed to come and talk and answer some candid questions about, being in addiction, moms, and all the angst we go through over the holidays, all the things we worry about. And Joshua, he has a story, right? And it's an important story. But when we first met Joshua, he didn't even know we existed. Like, we would pray for him because he was in prison, and we would hear things from his mom about him. And so we got to feel we felt like we knew Joshua. And so when he got out of prison like 8 months ago, we were just all so nervous, like moms, for him. Like, is he going to stay in recovery, and what does that look like? And so, anyway, here he is here. Joshua, how does it feel to be home for the holidays? How does that feel?
Um, well, it's kind of like a double edged sword, but one of those edges is way better than the other one.
Okay, so tell me more.
So when you're in there, that's all you want. That's all you think about. Especially the holidays, it just hits different than any other day. Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays, all that stuff. You know, all those things you're missing out on now that you're actually thinking about while you're sober when you didn't really care about when you were in your addiction. You didn't even think about those things.
Okay.
So it's not only do you feel the weight of them now, but you also feel the weight of you not feeling them when you were in your addiction. So it makes it a little bit more intense, I would say, now that you're actually there and you can actually participate and have your family around. So I'm just happy I have a family that I can be around because some people don't.
No, that's so true. And I think what happens a lot of times as I hear this is once our loved ones go and are incarcerated, um, the family just like disowns them and discards
Yeah.
them. And so what was interesting, a couple things you said was when you're under the influence, when that substance is just ruling your life, you don't really think about being around your family for the holidays in the same way that you are when you're sober. And so tell me a little bit more about that, because so moms are often worried that, oh my goodness, my child's on the street for the holidays.
Mm.
What is the addicted loved one feeling for the
Well,
holidays?
I'll say it like this: depending on who that person is. Now, me, even though I was, no matter how far deep I was in my addiction, I still had, some of my cognition. I still, felt things. I still worried about those things. If
Did you
your son or daughter or whoever it is they're in there somewhere, and that person that's in there somewhere, they're not going to come around you. If they're not coming around you, that actually means that they are feeling something, that they know what they're doing, that they're still in there. They just don't want to subject you to the way of life that they're living. They don't want anyone to see that because they still feel that shame and that
okay?
guilt and things like that. If you have a loved one that's coming around you all the time and asking you for money, especially at holidays, where's my Christmas present? Where's my this? Where's my that? They really just don't care. They're just gone. So the fact that you have a loved one or a son or daughter who's actually not there, that's staying away from you. Like, I never went around my family when I was in there. I stayed away because I didn't want them to see me like that. I knew what I was doing, and I still felt that shame and that
Oh,
guilt, and I didn't want to be around my family or let them see me like that.
I'm sorry.
So
Yeah.
that's just a part of it. So I know that even if they're not there and you're worried about them, take that as, I know it's kind of murky, but take that as a sign of them still being there somewhat, that they don't want to make you feel any worse than they already feel about
Okay.
themselves.
Sure. So when did anybody speak kindly to you when you were in I mean, what, I guess two questions. Did somebody speak kindly to you that helped you change your mindset at some point? Was it like a switch, or was it just a process and not an event?
Um, you mean when I was in prison, or
Just
when did
when
that occur, or
when
before
when you
prison,
did
or
when you finally decided that you weren't going to return to the life that you once had, that you were going to stay
um
sober.
well, for me, I think it was more of a process. I don't know if of course my mom. I talk to her all the time. It took her a couple months for her to talk to me. She actually sent me and my cellmate a Bible when I was in county before I went to prison, and so she started talking to me. She started putting money in my books, and she started taking that step, and I appreciate her for doing that. But also, as I got more sober and my mind became more clear, I knew what I had before me
Hmm.
and what I had to go through to get back and in a better place than where I was before. And so I kind of knew the road I had to take. I mean, I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do
Yeah.
anything. This is what I had to do. It wasn't an option. I couldn't just leave. I mean, that's
Right.
something I had to go through. So at that point, it became very real. And
Mm.
each day that passed, it, it helped me um, just completely understand what had to happen for me to get the most out of the situation I was in,
Right.
that
Okay.
I put myself in.
Yeah. So in your case, you were forced into this situation. You really didn't have any very few choices. But I'm sure there were still choices in prison where
Oh yeah,
you could have used, or you could have gone.
definitely,
Yeah.
for sure. And
And
I'm not gonna sit here and say that I didn't, because I did. That's something I went through in prison, and a lot of people don't understand that. Oh, he's in prison. It's structured. There's no drugs around. There's more drugs in prison. It's
uh,
more concentrated. That is the monopoly. That is a thing that is there. There's more drugs sold in prison than there is on the street.
oh
That
my
is a
gosh.
that is an empire. That is that's an enterprise. So there's now where I was at, not so much, but still, addiction is a bad thing. And even when I was sober, I still,
You can
I was bored. I
find
was in
it
prison. I was,
anywhere, I guess.
so I did this and that, but one time, and then I was like, this is just, I had to do it just to do it, just to get the experience. And I was like, this is crazy. Like I would, I would do it, or whatever was, around, which wasn't a whole lot, that deuce,
Yeah.
or, whatever. And I'm like, I don't like none of this,
Yeah.
especially being locked in I can't, I can go 20 feet that way and 20 feet that way. And I'm
Oh, yeah. No.
just two in my head, and
Sure.
I just can't do it.
That
This is
scares me.
not
Oh,
for me. This is just not, it can, if anything, it compounded every feeling and emotion and everything I was thinking even more,
right.
to being sober, to this is just bunch of people been here, three, four, five, six, seven, eight times doing the same thing over and over. I'm like, this is just not for me. This might be for y'all. Y'all can get out there, do drugs, steal people's stuff,
Yeah.
whatever, and come back again. But I
Yeah.
got way more important stuff to do than come back here and hang out with y'all and get high
Right.
in the surrounded by walls. I'm not. It's not for me.
So
So
just for moms who are listening, um, Joshua has been out, I think, just I haven't counted, but I think about 8 months.
yeah,
And in that time, he he is, my gosh, he's got a job, he has a vehicle,
I have
he
two vehicles.
do you he
I'm
just
trying to sell one. The other
moved
one is just
moved
not
into an
good. But
apartment. Like, so, and there were times along his journey that it was like, oh my gosh, this is so slow, I need a better life. And I'm sure it still feels that way to him. But for us moms, and where we see his progress, all these little steps are just adding up to so many bigger things that he doesn't even know are out there yet. But I just, we applaud him often. So tell me, what do you love most now about being sober? What do you love most?
um, honestly, it's having just having my own stuff, and it's not anything big. It's not. I don't want a Lamborghini or a huge mansion or anything. It's literally that I can come home and I'm so tired that I don't even want to cook myself dinner. Like, I don't even want to take a shower. Like, but I do it anyway because I have one and it's mine
Yeah.
and I'm gonna use it. So
Oh, I love it.
that's what I
Yeah.
do. I come home every day. I wake up at 5:30 and I get home at 5 or 6 or whatever I need to do for that day because my job is not. It's not a 9 to 5. It's not a desk job. It's very physically demanding. So I just that's probably the best thing. I can come here, and this is my space, and I can do what I need to do for me, so that I can wake up again tomorrow and do what I need to do for me and the people I love again. And I
So
can do that every day.
how do you stay motivated to be substance free? Like, how is it, what is
You
that?
know,
What is the motivator?
it's kind of hard, honestly. It is. Some days are harder for others. And this last weekend, I went to Fort Smith, and that's where I went to jail. That's where I've lived my whole life is Fort Smith. And I met up with one of my buddies, and his brother just died in
Oh,
March, and him and his brother actually died at the same time. They each snorted a half of a 30 milligram oxycodone that was actually fentanyl, and they both died. And he got brought back, and his brother did not make it. They tried to revive both of them. Only one of them made it. So I went and saw him. I haven't seen him in 5 6 years. I went to prison for 3. Before that, I was just doing whatever for a couple of years. So I spent the last 5 years of my 20s, doing drugs and going to prison. So I went back there and hung out with him and talked to him. And
how is he doing? Is was he able to
he's not doing great.
stop after he
Yeah,
died?
he's not doing that anymore.
No.
He's finishing. He's putting granite countertops in houses. I mean, he's a worker. I mean, he's a trade worker.
So, what what is the easiest part of doing what you're doing now?
I would say that living here, um, my mom and dad live in Rogers and Arkansas, and I've a couple sisters here, and just living here and not really knowing anybody besides family. I don't really have. I don't know any friends. I don't have any friends up here. I don't have time to meet anybody, and nor do I
So,
have the energy to. So I
right.
literally just work, sleep, and eat, and that's what I do, and that's okay with me.
So do you kind of crave to have a support system right where you live, though? I mean, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be great if you had some kind of church support or peer support?
Yeah, well, the
nearby?
thing is, I have it every day. My boss,
Oh,
his
good.
name's Caleb. He's an awesome guy. He just got out of prison before I did, and
Okay.
he was a worse guy than I was when he was, in his probably running meth and all kinds of stuff. And he's like me. He's either all the way in or all the way out, and so he's either, black or white. He's either 0 or 100. So he's either all the way in the game or he's all the way out of it. So now he's just living for the Lord, and he preaches to me every day, and we talk about Jesus every day, and he's just, it says in the Bible, and he says that about 20,000 times a day. So,
Oh,
so I
wow.
get it every day. So that's where my mentor, my support comes,
It's great.
even at work,
Yeah.
and then after work, my mom's like 15 minutes away. I live in Fayetteville, but Rogers is like
Okay.
20, 30
Yeah.
minutes away. So I usually work Rogers, Bentonville, Fayetteville, they're Springdale, they're all just right there close to each other. So I can get everything I need in a day. I have no doubt about that.
So it's not like you're going to sober, to 12-step programs, to
No.
different support. And what would you say to, I know my son and daughter-in-law don't practice. I don't think they go to meetings, but they do have a sponsor. Do you have a sponsor?
I don't, but you know what? And
It
whatever
sounds like your
label,
boss is your sponsor.
yeah, whatever label you want to put on, like if you
Right,
need to go to a meeting, that's great. Get to a meeting if that's what does it for you.
right.
Everyone's different. So I myself, I don't I don't feel like I have to go to one of those. That's not what keeps me. Um, that's not what keeps me on track. I have my boss. I have my mom. I have the Lord. I've been sober for 3 years now, and like I said, I've went through these tests and all these things. And if I'm not gonna cave, if I didn't cave then, I'm not gonna cave now. There's not anything you can throw at me that is gonna make me cave. It's just not going to happen. So the devil can throw whatever tricks he wants at me. They're all old. They might just have a different face. So I'm going to recognize that being in the sober state of mind I'm in. And it's just, he's not going to have time to because I'm
Yeah,
either asleep or I'm at work. So it's not,
good.
there's just no room for error.
So what kind of music do you listen to when you're working, or just when you have time?
I listen to everything, honestly. I like the variety. I listen literally everything. I mean, country, pop. There's some good rap out there. It's not all just about guns and drugs and women. Um, it's few and far between, but it's out there. There's some good lyrical geniuses out there who use that as their outlet. Um, so it's an art form for
For
sure.
sure. So do you find it, that the lyrics, then it sounds like the lyrics are what inspires you, obviously with the music too, but it sounds like what you listen to is and like is based on the
Yeah,
lyrics.
it's meaningful. It's not
Okay.
just, I mean, because
Yeah.
anybody can, rap or sing about this and that, and usually it's money, drugs, and women,
Yeah.
and that's just so you can say it a million different ways, but it's just so boring.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like
Yeah.
you got a music video and there's a Lamborghini and you're throwing money everywhere, and that's cool, but everyone else is doing the same thing. So it's I like to hear about real life experience, just like we're talking right now.
Yeah.
Somebody's made a song about this conversation we're having about addiction, about where they've
Sure.
been, where they've gone, where they're going, where they're gonna be. And they put that and collaborated it
Wow.
and rearranged it into a way that's aesthetically pleasing to your ears. And so that's just really cool.
When you were still using, when people got angry at you, did
Mm-hmm.
it did it help you or hurt you?
I mean, when I was still using, I just didn't care.
Okay.
So either they were mad at me or they weren't. I mean, if I was had anything to do with them, you know, uh, I mean, if they meant something to me, then it probably hurt me or I didn't care. Honestly, I don't remember. I mean, I didn't really hang out or, mess with a whole lot of people that it would matter.
Okay.
You know,
So
that's one of the things. You have acquaintances and people you meet, but really you're all just trying to get high. And,
yeah.
and and that's it. So you're trying to manipulate them. They're trying to manipulate you, and whatever. Tell you this, tell you that. So it doesn't really matter.
So do you feel emotions when you're using?
You do, but most of them are not the emotions that you would that a normal person, that a sober person would feel on a regular day. This emotion is, you know, I'm sad or I'm depressed, and the only reason that you're having those feelings is because you're not high or you can't get high, and so all of it, literally all of it, revolves around that. So in the solar system, everything revolves around the sun.
Mhm.
So your sun is
Is
that addiction, is that
Mhm.
drug. So all those feelings and all those planets, Earth, Mars, you can assign them a category, if you will, and they're all just rotating around that, trying to get some of that.
it's all
And
focused
that's
on that.
so anything you're feeling is directly related to that, whether you know it or not.
What advice would you give moms who want to connect with their addicted loved ones over the holidays, but
Mm-hmm.
they're in that place? I mean, all our kids are in different places. So
Yeah.
this question I might ask several different ways. So what advice would you give the mom whose child is just right back where you were talking, where their emotion is happy or sad based on whether they were able to use that substance? Um, should she reach out to that person over the holiday? And what?
What do they say? I'm sorry, you cut out. They should reach
Oh,
out to them,
sorry.
and
Am I
what would
freezing
they
up?
say?
Yeah, like
That's what you said.
what
Okay.
would the mom say to her child if he was in the throes of using, and yet she wanted to reach out because she was worried that he would be on the streets on Christmas Day,
Mm-hmm.
and she just is so sad because her child is in her mind cold and wet and hungry and sick. Um,
So
so what does she say to him?
the first thing, well, I'm going to say this: the what you shouldn't say to them is that you know exactly where they are, and don't describe those things.
Okay.
That's a understood fact. If you're in addiction, me as a mother, I know exactly where you are. I don't have to tell you where you are because you also are there. So I would not reiterate where they are because it's just going to make them feel even worse. And that's not the goal. That's not the plan. So to go along with that, so the things you shouldn't say is, I know you're cold. I know you're on the street. I know you're hungry. And you don't have any money. If you're not high, whatever, you're feeling it even more. So those are the things I would steer away from,
Okay.
because
Thank you.
both of you know those things,
Right.
and they don't want to be reminded of it even any more than you want to remind yourself of
So
it.
what do they want to hear? What do you
So what they want to hear is, and they might not, in some children, some people are very standoffish. Some people will take, um, you know, being nice and being supportive as charity, as they'll take it offensively,
oh,
because
can't
they're in
win.
that problem. So, hey, do you need this? No, I don't need none of your help. Stuff like that.
Okay.
So, and this is, everyone's not the same. So I can't.
Right.
There's not just
Okay.
one thing I can say that's
So
gonna be all, fix all. But definitely be
right.
supportive. Definitely ask them and listen, for
Listen.
sure, to
What
what they
about
need. If they ask for something small, like,
what
hey,
about
can you
what about
whatever.
this? What about this, Joshua? Tell me your story. I want to hear your story. How would they, how, I mean, would they be receptive to that, or would they think, what do you really want?
Um, would they be receptive to what?
Talking about their story.
Um, I mean, as they probably wouldn't. They would probably think you're just trying to, because definitely if you're on meth or whatever, you're already paranoid. So anything you say, they're gonna
Yeah.
think that you're saying something else or trying to do
Okay.
something else. So that's
It's
you
upside
say
down
one
logic.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So they're gonna think, well, what are they really saying? What are they really trying to do? And they're trying to get me. They're trying to figure out where I am because they're gonna send me to a rehab or they're talking to the cops or whatever. That's what goes through an addict's mind
Yeah.
is whatever you say, they're gonna flip it and twist it and turn it into whatever they are thinking at the moment that's harmful for them and what they're
So
trying to do.
I just want to stop and say that Renee said, this is good. Thank you so much for doing this. And a big thank you to Joshua for helping us moms to understand. You're both a blessing to us. You're welcome, Renee.
Thank you.
Yeah, Joshua's just awesome. And I know I'm throwing these questions at him, and I didn't give him any of them up front. Like, he didn't know what I was going to be asking him before this. So
No.
I'm kind of putting him on the spot. But I think what you're saying is so important, Joshua, because moms tend to think of their loved ones from their mindset. And what they
Yes.
forget is that their child's mindset is diseased. And so their logic is upside down. It doesn't even make sense. So when we assume that we know what they're feeling, what they're thinking, it's most of the time wrong. Now, what would you say, like, for somebody like me? So our son and daughter-in-law are in recovery,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they still struggle with life. I mean, don't we all?
Yeah.
But in their case, I I think it's past Christmases with the shame. For some reason, I think the
Mm-hmm.
holidays are very difficult for them because
They
they
are.
remember these things about uh, from the past holidays where they weren't invited or they were really in a bad place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I guess I forgot what my question was.
Well, I'll give you an answer.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just talk to you.
Sure.
So, like I said earlier, the holidays they're going to hit you different. So,
Okay.
whenever one of those comes up, of course, you're going to remember the time that you weren't there because of what you were doing and who you were with and where you weren't, which is with your family. Because of that reason, you weren't doing what you were supposed to do. You weren't living right. So it's just going to hit different. Now, the thing to take away from that is that you're there now.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, there's pessimists, there's optimists, and I see every problem as not a problem, just an opportunity for a solution.
Oh, I
So
love
it's just
that. Wait, wait, wait.
it's perspective.
Say that again. Say that again.
It's not a problem.
It's an
Every problem,
opportunity
there's
for a
an
solution.
opportunity to find a solution.
So
So
if I wanted to grow my relationship with my recovering um, children, how would I do that? Like, what would
I
be
mean,
one?
honestly, the one thing I can say, this covers everything. This covers every question, every situation, every you don't know what to do. It's be supportive. And whatever that looks like for your child or your daughter or son or loved one or sibling or whoever it is,
Mhm.
you have to, and I say that very generally, be supportive. And you're like, well, what does that mean? And
Right.
that's where you have to probe. That's where you have to get to know that child, that sibling, that loved one. And if you've been with them their whole life, those questions you're going to have to ask yourself. You can't ask them because they don't know if they're in the problem. They're not going to be able to give you an accurate answer. So that's something that you have to actually
Oh,
know about that person to be able to gauge how you should interact with them. And so, but being supportive, however that may look like,
hmm,
without damaging that person even more, because that can happen also. It's very complicated, and there's a very fine line
right.
between being supportive and being condescending and being
Condescending. Yeah.
sarcastic and just wanting to rule over their life and make it all better for them. And there's you can't push too hard, and you can't not push enough. I mean, it's
No.
just so the margin for error is just so tiny because those people are just on edge all of the time.
Right.
So one little
Well,
thing can just
that's good. That
blow it
will
up.
make mom super nervous. Like,
And I'm not trying to, but
no,
that's
oh
that's
no,
just
no,
the
no, no.
facts.
Yeah, no, I think what you're saying is so important and it's powerful. I think what it's saying is that, look, moms, we can try to be supportive, but there's that narrow line and we might not make it. We might not, um, we just have to keep trying, right? And I
Yeah,
think my good friend Pam, she'll say, the main thing is that there are no regrets. I'm not gonna, I don't care anymore if my son and daughter-in-law are wrong. What I
yeah.
care is that they feel loved and
Is that they're
accepted
okay?
and
It
seen and
doesn't.
heard
Yeah.
by me, right? And obviously that's not easy because
Not at
I
all.
for us, so often we see things in we have our own trauma, and so, like, you just saying that you went back to where your street friends were, I'm like
Hmm.
holding my breath, right? i'm
Yeah.
i'm just saying, oh, like, and all those thoughts go through your head,
Hmm.
and I'm like, and then I'll have this meeting with myself because I've done this with my son
Yeah.
where, and I'll be like, wait, Michelle, do you know that to be true? Do you know that he is using again? Do you know that this is going to lead out? No, I don't know any of that. So yet we let these fears and these thoughts destroy our whole day, our sleep, our fun for the day because we think this might happen. And right in here lies the peace that we can find. But we have to find it for ourselves. It's not going to be, we have to find happiness for ourselves that's unattached to our loved
Yeah.
ones.
So I'll say that your child, your sibling, whoever, don't make your happiness and don't let that tear you apart, whether they make it or not. Because the minute you attach yourself to that, you've already failed.
Yeah, we can't
Because
control it.
if you can't do that. The minute you compare yourself to somebody else, you're already you're already negative. You've already shot yourself down.
So,
So
so when you were in prison, how did you feel loved by those who showed you support? How did you feel loved? What did they do to help you feel loved?
my mom sent me. She would always send me pictures and letters and stuff like that. We would talk on the phone. Of course, money, food is gold in there. Just having a bag of coffee or whatever is, um, all you can ask because that's all there is. I mean, it's just food is that's it. That's all you do. You just eat and you're just bored, and so
I think
that's what it is.
I think my granddaughter sent you something that she drew. I think, or we
I
sent
think she
you.
did too.
I think we sent you a letter or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just connected with this woman who actually goes into the prisons, the hardcore prisons,
Uh-huh.
and she teaches them entrepreneur skills and their side hustles, and she brings in people in the community. She's amazing. Her TED Talk is phenomenal. And she started something called Hustle 2.0. And it's these programs that you can have in the jails and the prisons. And I'm going to be partnering with her next year because there's just so much work to be done and so much
Yeah.
work to do. And um, this writing back and forth. So she has this website where you can go and read all the stories of people in these different prison situations who want to have this Hustle 2.0 program. And I don't know all that's involved in that yet, but I will. And you can sponsor somebody then to go through her program. And then when they get out, they have more of a chance to. I'm not sure exactly, but it's just awesome. And I connected with her. She endorsed my book that's going to be launching in on Mother's Day. And so I'm really excited to see where that's going because I want this to have like a snowball effect, right? Where if I can get moms well, and one of the things I recommend is that they talk to people like you who have
Sure.
because you're wisdom to us. You're the connection that we want with our child. And yes, our child is different than you are, but a
Mm.
lot of your emotions and feelings and being seen and valued and heard are those are human, instincts, human things that we all
Yeah.
need.
Well, everyone might be different, but the psyche, the addiction, the into
Yeah,
the psyche of an addict is at core value is the same.
right.
So if you can delve into some of those things and dissect them a little bit, where you can get some information from those things and apply it to your own life and your addicted loved one's life, then you can start to get some answers and start to be able to cope and deal with
Yes.
those things in a healthy way.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel like, well, we want to help our children, but we're not sure how. Well, what about helping somebody who's receptive to your help, so that you can
Yeah.
actually sponsor them? I just thought it was an awesome idea, and you're going to be hearing more about that. I don't know yet, but I pray about it. Like, okay, God, open those doors and
Mm.
tell me where I need to go to, keep going with this. But Joshua, is there anything that you want to just share? Finally with moms about the holidays, any words of wisdom or tips, anything that maybe we didn't talk about?
Um, I'm not really sure. I don't think so. The only the only thing I can say is that um, most of the time it's your children, right? It's your son, it's your daughter, and wherever they're at, I promise you, you might not think it, but they are thinking about you. They're especially moms because whenever you're in a problem, whenever you need something, hey, mom will do it. Mom will fix it. Mom's got me. So even more so now, honestly, all I wanted when I was an addict, when I was hurt or whatever, when I just wasn't having a great day or whatever it is, I just wanted my mom,
Yeah.
and that's it. And however you can be there for your child is going to be enough for them. Whether you stop where they're at and ask them where they are, or if you can find them, or whatever, and just sit in the car with them, or give them a sandwich, or whatever it is, no matter how small, it's not. They might ask you for something. They might ask you for a couple bucks or a sandwich, or hey, can you give me a ride here? But really, they just want to see you.
Oh,
Their addiction is telling you, oh, hey, how can I get here? How can I get to this place so that I can get high? But think about how many people they know, and think about how many friends they have, and think about how many other addicts are out there that they mess with and call on the daily, but they chose to call you to get you to take them somewhere
okay.
because they want to see you. They want to
Okay.
see their mom. They want to see that she's still there, that she still loves them, that she still cares about them, and that even though now they're not doing good and they know that, if they're calling you, they still care. Even though they're still in addiction, even though they're still messing around or doing whatever, if they call you, if they talk to you, if they make an effort to get a hold of you, whether to ask you for money or food or whatever it is, just know at the core of that, they want to see you. because they care, because they love you. They want to know that you care and love them back, and that you
and
haven't given up on them.
I think the hardest part of that is support. You want to support them.
It
They
really
care.
is.
They
But you
care
don't
about
want to enable them. And
right,
so
but
it's
you
just
can't.
it's hard to do.
Yes, yeah. It's such a fine line. Well, this was so good. It's so complicated, but I really appreciate your time with us and your candid
Sure.
responses. And
No
moms,
problem.
if you have any questions, moms, leave them in the comment section below. And I'm sure that I'll be doing this again, but we can get some answers from Joshua too. And we really, how can we pray for you, Joshua? Is there anything specifically we can pray for you about?
Um, it's really not for me, honestly. I'm super fantastic. I don't pray for me just like you have been, because it's been working,
Yeah.
obviously. Uh, I'm great. I don't think I'd be where I'm at without all of you moms. So I appreciate that. I really do love you guys. Um, but other than that, I told you the other night, my ex-wife Tori. I just don't pray
Oh,
for me. I mean, pray for me, but also if you're going to direct your prayer somewhere, direct them to
yeah.
um, people that more so need them. You
Well,
know,
and like her children.
everybody needs them, but
Oh,
there's
all
other people that are in a worse situation than I am, and I would ask that you direct all of your prayer power. You directed it at me for a long time, and still direct a little bit there because I still need it, but direct most of it towards everyone that's not
okay.
doing as good as me. That's not
Okay.
in the position
Yeah.
I'm in, because I would love to see everybody, especially people that are close to me,
That's
my
so
ex-wife.
generous.
I
Yeah.
love her to death. I hope, I want the best for her, and I just hope she
Yeah.
she gets better. I hope she does better. I want everything good for her. And
And
when I
I'm
saw
worried
her, it
about
just
her
made me so sad, and
kids.
I just couldn't.
Yeah.
It hurt.
And I'm
It
praying
hurt
for
to see
those.
her like that.
Yeah. I'm praying for those kids in there that have to be in
Yeah,
the throes of the
that
addiction where
was
they have no secure, safe stability because my grands were like that once upon a time and rips me apart. Well, so many moms are thanking you here. You're welcome, Glenda, and there's a few others here too. So take
more
care,
than welcome.
and we'll talk to you again soon. Okay, Joshua?
Definitely,
All right.
please.
God bless. Bye bye now.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.